Good evening. All right, can you guys hear me on Spaces and here? Okay, so I've shared a link for a giveaway. So I'm going to give away 3 any size Apex accounts. They go up to 300,000. So just an FYI. All right, good. So let me show you guys quickly just how to sign up for it, because it seems a lot of people aren't really. Hang on a second. Okay, this is what it looks like. If you go down, when you click on the link, you go down here, it's going to, you can click on, like, let's say Gmail or something. As soon as you click on that, it will automatically enter you, so you don't have to do anything. If you want to be entered, so like if you see here, it says 101 entries, it just means that others have done a few of these things to like give them more of a chance to win. So I'll get started in a little bit. So again, just click on the little thing, and then if you want more entries, you can just click on these little buttons, you know, like that. There you go. And so now it entered me because I wanted to show you guys this. So don't worry, guys, I'm not gonna claim it myself. Okay, let's see. All right, so those of you who have been through this before, it's pretty much the same stuff that I'm going to go over, which is futures basics. So anything and everything you need to get started. Let me just make sure I republish this. Okay, so if you guys want to follow along, you can go to propfirmtrend.com and click on trading resources. Let me just sign in. All right. So trading resources and futures basics. Also up here on the top, you guys, there is a little summary. So click on that and it'll give you everything you need to know. And I promise you, I hate even saying this, but I will bet you that 70% of futures traders don't know some of these things, and they still trade. So the more you are equipped with the fundamentals, the better you are going to be, especially if you're brand new to trading futures. So I see across the board a lot of times, there's so many people are failing with, whether it's an eval account or their funded account. And, when I started trading futures over 3.5 years ago, I used to trade options. So actually, many years before that, I traded like small caps and crypto, and then I moved into trading options. And when I came over to futures, there wasn't anyone, or barely anyone, that could help me with trading futures. So it was a lot with trial and error and a lot of money down the drain. Also, a lot of bad habits that I formed, along with, like, a few others that I brought over from options to trade, futures with me. And because no one told us and no one explained to us and no one taught us. So like like I said, a lot of it, and I see that happening still. Like we're almost in 2026 and people are still doing the same thing, just hopping into trading futures, kind of like winging it, You're not gonna I mean, if you unless you've got a shit ton of money to blow, I mean, I guess you can do that. But you can print this or save it, or always come back to it. But I'll go ahead and get started. These are the fundamentals, the basics. Even if you do know them, a lot of times it's good to go back through and get a refresher. So I will answer any and all questions at the end. I will not stop the webinar to answer any questions during the webinar. So at the end, please don't ask, please don't think any, questions are dumb or anything like that. We all had questions that, you know, so basically there's no dumb questions, okay? If you have a question, more likely than not, someone else will have the same question. So um, I'll go ahead and get started. Also towards the end, um, I'm gonna do the drawing. So it's a free account to Apex up to 300K. So you can pick an account between 25K up to 300K. So, okay, let's see. Let me just refresh this quickly because I just did something to update something quickly, and I want to make sure it's going to work before we get started. All right. Okay, there we go. Okay, let me just grab a drink of water quickly, guys. Alrighty, let's get started. So this is going to take about 40 minutes or so for me to get through. It's packed with a lot of information. If you're brand new at it, it might be a little overwhelming, but don't worry, it's not. I promise you, it's not rocket science. It's going to make sense if you come back through it maybe the second or third time. Um, so you do not have to memorize this, okay? All right, so futures trading. What are futures trading? So futures trading is basically a contract between a buyer looking to invest and a seller where the contract is made for the future and has an expiration date. There are two participants, hedgers and speculators. So hedgers protect their assets from risks and speculators are usually floor traders. So as retail traders, we are considered speculators. Futures contracts are available in 5 different assets, such as equity index futures, interest rate futures, commodity futures, currency futures, metal futures, and they all have expiration dates. Your broker that you're using, whether it's NinjaTrader, Trade of 8, Webull, Interactive Broker, they're all going to automatically prompt you to roll over to the next expiration date. So futures contracts are available, they typically expire monthly for interest rate futures, commodity futures, currency futures, and metal futures. But for equity index futures such as S&P 500, it's quarterly expirations, which is March, June, September, December, and same thing for Nasdaq. So right now we're still trading the December contract. However, next week we're going to be rolling that over to March of 2026. So it's kind of the key terminology is basically used. Lot or contract, the unit of the instrument. Tick is the smallest price movement that a futures contract can make. Point is $1 move or one handle. Globex is an electronic trading platform used for derivative futures and commodity contracts. However, traders also use the term Globex to mean the overnight session of the market. So if they're like right now, some are trading Asia session, they're going to say I'm trading Globex. RTH is the regular trading hours, and then I don't need to go through all of this down here, but margin is the amount of money required to be deposited by a trader to open a futures position. So the purpose of this is to basically teach some of the fundamentals of how futures work, how you can trade them, in your own account, or how you can get a funded futures account, which I believe the many benefit from adding futures trading to their skill set. And I've spoken about this before. I would say that I've been teaching this for over 3.5 years. When I started, when I didn't know, I was trying to teach whatever I could at the time, because when I inquired about futures trading, everybody that I asked, I'm like, well, what do you guys think about trading futures? They're like, oh, no, no, no. That's only for institutional traders. That's for big boys. And to me, it was like, that's interesting. So I did, some in-depth research and this and that. But I would say 90% of options traders that come over start trading futures. They don't go back to options. Some do both. They'll trade options and futures. Um, some will just trade futures, and about, I would say, maybe 5%. I think I know 5 people that have gone back to trading options out of thousands. So, um, most often, the futures are ES, MES. So like SPX and SPY, NQ, MNQ, RTY, which is IWM. CL is for oil, GC is for gold. So these are most often, futures that retail traders trade. Some, I don't know very many, but I mean, I think I've seen a few who have traded cattle or like natural gas, but that's not, So I'm just going to stick to the ones that we typically trade. But basically these trade in a manner more akin to shares than options. So there's no theta, no IV, stop losses can be placed at precise price points, and each futures contract has its own specification, including the size of the contract, the tick size, which is the minimum price movement, and the delivery date. Micro E-minis are 1/10 as small as the E-mini contracts of the same type. So to provide an example, the S&P 500 Micro E-mini utilizes a $5 multiplier, whereas the E-mini version employs a $50 multiplier. So first up, the market is essentially futures, and we frequently will discuss S&P 500 futures. And although, like I said, these are traded similarly to other derivatives, leverage is what they offer above all else. And futures trading is simply just a very leveraged form of stock trading. And the S&P 500 contract offers roughly 32-to-1 leverage, because ES trades in ticks, so it trades in a 0.25 spread. So for every so one contract changes value by $12.50 for every 0.25 it moves. Okay, so you gain or lose $50 when ES moves 1 point. So if ES moves 10 points, you either win or lose $500. And then 10th of an ES contract is the MES. So instead of the $50 per point, it's $5 for each point. So it's literally the same stuff. If you look here, that's what I just talked about here. But NQ, for example, changes value by $5 per tick or $20 per point. And for S&P 500 and NASDAQ, there are 4 ticks in 1 point. But if you're trading oil, for example, one CL or mini changes value by $10 per tick or $10 per 0.01. And each penny is a tick worth $10. So it's $1,000 per point. So if oil is trading at $60 and it goes from $60 to $61, so there's just a $1 move, that's $1,000 in that contract. So as you can see, every single penny that it moves, it's $10. So the micro version of it changes value, by $1 per tick, or $1 per every penny that it moves. So what I see, many new traders jump straight into trading ES or NQ, okay, thinking they're just trading futures, when the risk is actually equivalent to trading the full index value. So they don't realize that trading NQ is like trading NDX and trading ES is like trading SPX. So most traders, especially if you're starting out, should be trading the micros, which is the MNQ. It's more like trading QQQ or MES, which is, again, it's kind of like trading SPY. Okay. So bottom line is, don't trade NQ when your account size says that you should be trading MNQ. If you're trading options, if you have a $2,000 port or even a $5,000 port, and you go in and trade SPX or NDX, you know exactly that how that's going to end. It's not going to end well. So you've got to size accordingly. So futures market is open 23 hours a day. You must close out your position by 4:59 p.m. if trading funded prop accounts. It opens Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern and closes Friday at 4:59 p.m. Eastern. And best times to trade are during the New York Stock Exchange market open or during the European markets, which is in the middle of the night. And you also need to check during the holiday, as the hours may vary. Like, for example, Labor Day, we opened up at 6 p.m. Sunday night and closed at 1 p.m. Eastern Monday, while New York Stock Exchange was closed all day. So we don't have the same trading hours. This right here is more of a comprehensive futures contract specification. You can see, the description, what the ticker is, the minimum tick, the dollar amount, the notional amount, that kind of a thing. This is a little bit outdated for notional amounts, but, crude oil, you can see some, I think I've only traded Australian dollar once and never again. But so you can also do kind of like foreign exchange. And some firms will let you trade Bitcoin, but like micro Bitcoin, just so you guys are aware as well. Okay, let's move along. All right, so I'm going to go over 3 types of ways to trade futures. And I'm going to start out with trading futures with your own capital using traditional brokers. Okay, so one way is, first you have to actually request permissions. If you've got, Interactive Brokers or TOS, you'd go in and request to trade futures, and they would either approve or deny. You can trade micros, which cost roughly about $2,300 for one MES lot and about $23,000 for one ES lot. Okay. Again, you want to check with your broker how much capital you would need for these. The second way would be to use a broker that specializes in futures, such as NinjaTrader or Tradeovate. So instead of $23,000 for traditional brokers, Tradeovate offers a $500 to $1,000 per day or day trading margin, okay, for E-mini contracts. But micro contracts are even more affordable, which, MES costs only $50 day trading margin, MNQ costs $100, and this is for the day trade margin only. Overnight positions require full initial margin, and that means, like, if you're a swing trader and if you want to swing something, let's say from a Friday to a Sunday, then you would need the initial margin. NinjaTrader owns Tradeovate, so you can actually fund your NinjaTrader and use the money on the Tradeovate platform and vice versa. So, but basically the distinction is, when you purchase or sell a contract, you're not purchasing ES shares. So therefore, it costs the same amount of money to buy or sell one contract regardless of the price at which ES is trading. And margin is the term for this. So, for a broker that specializes in futures, as a result, it's fairly affordable, making it a good choice for those that would be comfortable trading their own money. Also, margins do change upon a news event like FOMC or CPI. So you'd want to, look into that. Okay, so what is initial margin versus day margin? So Trade of 8 offers reduced margins for the day session as well as the overnight session. And the reduced margin, which is this, where it says day margins, if you see ES says 500, NQ is 1,000. The micro version is $50 and $100. Reduced intraday margin is currently available from 6 p.m. until 4:45 p.m. Eastern. So for almost 23 hours, okay, you are able to use the day margin. However, if you are wanting to hold your position at the close of the market, so 4:45 p.m. until 6 p.m., so for like an hour and 15 minutes, then for each contract, you need to have the initial margin. So like NQ is 33,000, ES is 23, initial margin for, MES and MNQ. So for me as a day trader, as a scalper, I don't need to, I can utilize the day margin because I don't hold positions um, past 4:45 p.m. I can close my position at 4:45 p.m. and then open it back up at 6 p.m. without needing to have, $33,000 in the account just for one NQ contract. So that's what the difference is. And I think the account minimum to open up a Trade of 8 account is like $250 or maybe $100. I'm not 100% sure. A few other ones that offer AMT is another one. I know Robinhood and Webull also allow you to trade futures, but hold on just 1 second. Sorry, my brother texted me about his knee hurting. Well, what am I supposed to do about that? Alrighty, let's see. I lost my train of thought. Sorry, guys. Oh, with futures, there's no PDT, so you can open and close your positions as many times as you want during the day. It's not just like, you open it once and you have to close it. No, you can actually open and close. So the third way would be to utilize a finance partner, also known as Tradeify or Apex Trader Funding, Take Profit Trader, the Futures Desk, Top Step, or My Funded Futures. I mean, there's so many others. I think there's like 70 to 80 fairly known firms, and then there's like 200 of them in worldwide. You just got to do your own due diligence with what the best firm would be for you because everybody has different wants and needs. But I'll give you just some of the examples from here. So like Tradeify has a 1-day pass. They also have a no evaluation where you can just go straight to sim funding. And Top Step, for example, has a 2-day minimum evaluation where you can be funded in as little as 2 days. Take Profit Trader has 5 days, so the evaluation is like 5 days. But once you get funded, and you meet the threshold, you're actually able to start withdrawing money daily. So, the rules are all different between different firms, but there a lot of times, like when it comes to what the profit goal should be and the drawdown, it's very similar. So how this works is you demonstrate to the prop firm that you are a successful trader and you must pay to enter the evaluation, which is a sim account. Okay. If you succeed, you will then be given a funded account to trade with. You pay the activation fee. No, some firms don't even have activation fees. It depends on accounts and prop firms. You keep all of the proceeds up to $25,000, and you keep 90% of the profit after the first 25,000 you earn, while they keep 10%. So that right there is from Apex. Um, you also want to see the proper rules, whatever you're utilizing. Some people will get multiple accounts when it's on discount so that they can trade copy them at the same time. There is a trade copier you can use, but each account must pass the performance evaluation because they are all standalone accounts. Now, is this too good to be true? Not really. Most traders fail due to lack of discipline. Okay. 95% of traders, or 90%, I suppose, it depends where the statistics are right now, but fail. Whether they're trading options, equities, crypto, futures with their own funds. That's just unfortunately the statistics, and this is how these companies make money. Okay, but if you can trade the chart, such as price action, and you can stay disciplined and are consistent, then you're going to make money. There are people all over the world that are withdrawing funds all the time, but they're also consistent. So the worst that can happen is you would lose your account evaluation fee. You do not pay back any capital. And I've gotten so many questions from people saying, well, do I have to pay back the capital? No, you don't. You can also take these evaluations as many times. It's not just once and that's it. Also, you can connect your own personal funded accounts with different prop firms and trade them all at the same time. And in my opinion, if you just want to test it out, although they have regulations, you're essentially forced to have good habits by these rules. So I would be the prop firms. So why prop firm versus trading your own money? And this right here is from Take Profit Trader, but simply put, most traders are undercapitalized. You level the playing field by using their accounts, not your own funds. Trading your own funds can lead to severe losses. However, if you're using a prop firm, your losses are limited to the associated challenge fee. Lack of discipline haunts traders, and the risk management system and their rules make sure that you stay disciplined during your trades. Also, the technology, the live data, and all of that is provided by them. So it's, there's not any extra documentation or anything like that you need to fill out. So this right here is the drawdown. There's 3 types of drawdowns. Okay, I'm gonna go over these drawdowns to help you guys understand. So I'm actually gonna pull up some of the prop firms to show you guys the difference between some of them. Okay, so this right here, okay, this is Apex. They've got their wealth charts plan, but if you use, for example, Trade-O-Bait, okay. So as you can see, there's let's just use a 50K account as an example. So your profit goal is 3,000. Your trailing threshold is $2,500, which means if you go below $2,500, that's when you would breach your account. Obviously, if you're doing a 150K account, it's 5,000. If it's a 300K account, it's 7,500. Okay. So that's the drawdown. Actually, all of these accounts right now are on sale for 19 bucks. Even the 300K. So 50, all of the accounts, any size. This right here is the futures desk, and they have what we call static accounts, and these are customizable, so you can actually customize the plan. But they've got end of day and static. Now I'm giving you guys some just to explain, because this is going to come in to play in the next section. And then if you go to just Tradeify, they have, see, it's called a growth account. It is an end of day trailing. Similar. This is a 50K account. Profit target 3,000. max end of day drawdown 2,000. Okay, so a lot of these firms are going to have the same, your profit target, you meet 3,000. Okay, with the growth account, if you pass this in one day, then you get funded. There's no activation fee here. Then they have these select accounts. Profit target for a select account is 2,500. Trailing or end of day drawdown is 2,000. But once you pass, then you can choose whether you want to get paid out daily or flex. So it'll tell you what your, if you want to choose the daily, your max payout per day is 1,000. Or if you do the flex, it's 3,000 per day. Okay. Another one that they have is you can skip both of the evaluations and just go directly to a funded account. So SIM funded account. So what does that mean? Anything that, as long as you don't go below your drawdown, which is 2,000, anything you make in there, you would get to keep as long as you obviously are following, the rules. So that said, let me explain to you guys a little bit of the, because I just showed you 3 different accounts or 3 different drawdowns and what those drawdowns mean. And this is where a lot of people don't understand the difference. Drawdown is basically the maximum loss you're allowed to have before your account gets breached. So understanding how it's calculated is crucial for risk management and choosing the right proper approach. Okay. How it works, your drawdown limit moves up with your balance, and this is for intraday trailing and unrealized gains throughout the day, but resets to the daily starting balance each day. So let's say your day one starts at 50,000. You have a 3K drawdown. So your drawdown is 4,700. Okay. 10 a.m. you make a $500 profit. Now you're at 50,500. Your drawdown moves to 47,500. Okay. Let's say at 11 a.m. you make another $300. So now your balance is 50,800. Your drawdown moves to 47,800. Okay. 1 p.m. you open a position with $600 unrealized gain. Now you're at 51,400 unrealized. So your drawdown moves to 48,400. It trails the unrealized gains, okay? At 2 p.m., you close your position, let's say for $400 realized profit. Your drawdown is still going to stay at 48,400. It doesn't go down. So if you lose, $400, you're at 50,800. Your drawdown is still going to stay at 48,400. It doesn't go down. So the remaining drawdown is $2,400. However, once you get funded and once you, let's say, you pass this account, you made the $3,000 profit. Once you go over, so in this scenario, the drawdown is 3,000. But however, most firms are at 2,000 or 2,500. So once you're, okay, so in this scenario, if you're over $53,000, which is the plus 3,000, 53,100, then your account becomes static. It does not trail up behind you. So you can, if you're up at 60,000, 70,000, and you lose, I don't know, let's just say $10,000, you're not going to breach your account because it stopped trailing at the 53,100. Now, once you go below that, that's when you would breach your account. Okay. End of day trailing, your drawdown limit only moves up based on your ending balance at the close of each trading day. So for example, 50K account with 6%, so 3K drawdown, your day one, you start at 50,000, your drawdown is 47,000, your total available drawdown is 3,000. Let's say during the day you're up 51,500, then down to 50,800. Your drawdown stays at $47,000 all day. So your drawdown is $3,000, fixed all day. So let's say you close At 50,800, your drawdown updates to 47,800. Now, day 2, you start at 50,800. Your drawdown is 47,800, which is $3,000 from new starting balance. Okay. And the static drawdown, which like the futures desk, they have one of the best. So your drawdown limit is fixed based on your starting account balance, and it never changes. So a 50K account with 6% or 3K drawdown, your account starts at 50,000, drawdown is 47,000. Your week 1, you grow to 55,000, drawdown is going to stay 47,000. Let's say month 1, you grow to 60,000. Your drawdown is going to stay at 47,000. Month 6, your account is at 75,000. Your drawdown is still going to be at 47,000. However, reality check, if you lose, you can lose $28,000 and still breach the account. So if you go below that, 47K, you're going to breach the account. And that's the difference between the drawdowns, okay? Honestly, it's not really, thanks, Steve. I just glanced over. Now I forgot where I'm at. Where is my screen? Jesus, Steve. So technically, like, this here is just a few firms. They've got like right now, typically they have so Apex has like a 7-day pass, but right now they are running a promo, which is a Christmas special for like 1-day pass. And I think it's, $19.70 for each account. The one thing with Apex you can have is up to 20 accounts, and you get 100% of the first 25K, and then it's 90%. Tradeify, like I said, they've got different types of accounts. One is you don't even have an evaluation. You can just go straight to SimFunded. Take Profit Trader has the 5-day evaluation. They also have a 50% consistency, which is during the test only. And I'll explain to you guys what that means. And the futures desk has, once you pass your evaluation, it's also daily withdrawals. There's no consistency once you pass. There's no minimum days for payouts. There's no maximum. And it's $100 minimum that you can, pull money out. So here is actually we can compare some of the firms. So let's say Top Step, 50K account. Your profit target is 3,000. Okay. Drawdown is 2,000. Say we want to add and compare Tradeify. 50K. They actually have 40% off. Add that. So as you can see, actually this would be a little bit cheaper on Top Step because they just changed the rules. So I'll need to update that. But it's, as you can see, profit target, drawdown amount. Actually, this is a smaller profit target. I actually really like that. And it's daily withdrawals. But here it's 3,000 and a $2,000 drawdown. You also do have a specific amount of days before you can that you need to trade and make a minimum amount in before you can pull money out with Top Step. And I mean, you can continue if you want, comparing all of the firms or even the same firm with different account sizes, right? But what I want to show you guys is, hold on. Okay, so here, let's say you just want to pick, I don't know, let's just say static accounts, okay? it will show you which firms have the static accounts. And then you can kind of compare from there. And like if you go to full details, it'll give you a condensed version of their website. You know, some of the rules, you know, the 3 phases, you get to a live brokerage when, things like that. What, you know, platforms they've got, you know, just more information that's, you know, than what's in the front page. You can also click there and it'll take you to their website. So you can compare with that. God, I forgot what I was gonna freaking say. Nope. We'll come back here to talk about the risk management, because that's probably the most important, but I just want to make sure. Risk calculators. All right. So we'll talk about risk management, risk calculators, things like that can help you with, you know, just remember small gains add up. So, you know, even if you make 20 bucks a day, you know, you're going to make 5K a year. If you make 100 bucks, if you make $500, and to be quite honest, it's not hard with these prop firms to make 100 bucks, 500 bucks a day, especially if you have like 5 accounts and you are copy trading, and you shouldn't do that if you are brand new at trading. First, pass an account, you know, get familiar with it, get a payout, and then you can continue to add on, right? You know, some people I've had 26 funded accounts at a time or 30 funded accounts at a time. You can build and scale up. So that's the limit, like that's the freedom with firms. But the biggest issue that I see with people is the position size. Okay. So this should be your account size. So let's say we do a 5K account, which gives you $20 or $2,000 drawdown. Technically, you should be risking anywhere between, I don't know, 2 to 3%. Let's just say we do 5%. Okay, that's a little bit higher risk. It's more aggressive. Could be used when you have a high setup, you know, higher like an A+ setup. Okay. The ticks is, remember we talked about for, you know, MNQ and ES or MES. There's 4 ticks in one point. So let's just say we're gonna do, I don't know, 40 ticks. Okay. So it'll tell you, okay, your max micro size should be 5. So you could be risking, you know, $100. But let's say you want to do 15%. Hang on a second. We go back to position size, risk calculators. Okay, this one right here. It's the same thing. The other one's just a little bit different. Okay, so let's say you have your NQ is trading at 26,000 or 25,000. Doesn't matter. And we're going to have a 10-point stop loss. You want to risk 5%. Calculate size. Okay. You're risking 100 bucks. If you do 15%, you're risking 300 bucks. If you do, obviously, 50%, you're risking $1,000. Anything, you know, 10%, 15%, anything above, you're basically gambling. Okay. What I see most people do is they will get a 50K account and they're going to go and trade NQ. And they're trading basically 50% of their account for one position, because they're trading 4 or 5 NQs. Just because a firm allows you to trade 5 contracts does not mean that you should, okay? Because what you're doing is, I mean, it's like saying, hey, I have a port, my personal port of $5,000, and every trade I'm going to full port. We know that's not going to end well, okay? So, if you have a 5%, whoops, let's go back to 5% MNQ, 5, you're risking, it will tell you, it's a moderate risk, and how many losses you can have if you come here to this, if you have 3 losses, you can have $300. Wins to recover, it would be 2 trades. That's if you have an average of risk to reward ratio, this is the risk to reward ratio. But if you have let's say 2 to 1, okay, you only need a 33% hit rate to, make your money back. Or if you're, utilizing like a 4 to 1 or 5 to 1, then it decreases. Okay. So, whoops, not 0.5. Let's say that. So the point is that, you can come back from losses when you are sized light. If you are risking that, you're basically risking 50%. 2 losses, your account is blown. And I mean, you can't, it's basically, you cannot come back from this. So the most important thing that I can't tell you guys is the sizing. And, size is smaller, especially if you are brand new. Get consistent with whether it's like 2 or 3 micros, and then grow it. Then you move on up to 6 to 7 micros, then 7 to 10. And again, it depends on your account size. So like, for example, I trade the 150K up to 300K accounts, so my sizing is going to be different than somebody else's. You can also here you can do input like a growth calculator, and just you can do compounding or just simple growth, but it will tell you, even if you have a 50% win rate, if you take 3 trades and you risk 2% of that 2,000, which actually let's say 5%. So it will kind of tell you, even with that, it's 5K a month, 11K a quarter, even with just that $150. Okay. So don't think, I'm sure you guys see all over social media, people posting, 20,000 per account or 5,000 per account or whatever. But trust me, that's not, that's not, it takes time to get there, first of all. Second of all, a lot of times that's not the case. Okay. So that's what these calculators are. Another thing you guys can do is, so the psychology of trading, and, do an honest self-assessment. If you're feeling, I don't know, greedy and vengeful, it's going to tell you you're at a high risk, try not to trade. Okay. You can go in here and, let's say you've got a herd mentality, you're following the crowd without analysis. You can kind of, put why, whatever, and, oops. So just setup. Here, it will kind of show you your dashboard. Your cognitive biases identified, and you can see and review your mental state over time and see, okay, so for example, for me, if I am bored and I'm sitting at my computer, I might start trading for no reason. Okay, so what I have to do is shut down my computer, or like, I'll go to Pilates or something where I'm not going to be around my computer and I'm not going to be trading. Um, so you have to identify and be, honest with yourself, like what triggers me to take a trade. And we're all human. We all have emotions. I don't care what anybody says, especially when they're like, "Oh, I don't have emotions." Yeah, okay, well, we're human and we're going to have those emotions. So you have to identify what sets you off. Is it, what makes you go in that tilt? What, and that's all, emotions are, it could be bored, could be impatient, it could be, I don't know, tired, everything. So, play with that and do some post trade reviews, and it'll give you like your analytics over time. And then you're going to see, okay, well, if I'm feeling bored, I better get up, start I'm going to go do something else. I started like kind of trying to like do some like educational things in the middle of the day. Sometimes I'll do these um, futures webinars in the middle of the day just to kind of take my mind off of like not looking at the chart. Because my best hours for trading is the first 2 hours. So, okay, let's go back to that. And I can show you guys when I execute. I put up my sim account. So, all right, so this right here is Project X platform. It looks kind of like TradingView. It's fairly easy to use. If we're going long, you're going to buy. There you go. You guys can see better. Going to buy market, join bid, whatever. If we're going short, you're going to sell market, join ask, flatten your accounts. Up here is where you would change the contracts, that you're using. And then if it's MNQ, NQ, ES, whatever, obviously. And on the left, you can play around with it, and that's where like the trade copier is. Project X is usually or mostly used by Top Step, and they will be going away for majority of the firms, but I think Top Step is going to continue with their with just them as of February of next year. Another one is called NinjaTrader Prop Platform. Basically, same thing. If you're going long, you're gonna buy bid, buy market, sell ask. One thing I always tell everyone is to have a hard stop loss. I don't care if it's 15, 20, 30 points. Make sure that, um, especially if you're trading NASDAQ, it moves so fast. By the time you think you're going to close out your position, a wick can come through and basically just, liquidate you. So, so what? If you get wicked out, you can always re-enter. Just kind of play with a sim account and see what's best for you. I have a very tight stop loss, but I also have very precise entries. Um, and another reason, so I use NinjaTrader most of the time because I utilize, this is called a order flow footprint. It's a third-party add-on to NinjaTrader. You can't add a third-party indicator to like Project X, and I've just kind of stuck with NinjaTrader. So this right here is Tradeovate, fairly easy, same thing. Buy market, sell market. This is the DOM. ATMs where you would add your stop loss or take profit, but at least have a stop loss. You don't have to have a take profit, but just make sure that you are protected just in case something comes through and, you're not liquidated by any means. So technically, the takeaway from this is that if you know how to chart, SPY or QQQ, it's the same thing. If you're using Fibonacci's, if you're using moving averages, pivots, whatever it is that you're using is what you would be using for charting your NQ. And so right here, I'm gonna show you guys. So like I've got little, ATM strategy. So I've got a 50 tick stop loss. Okay, so let's say I want to go short. I don't know, I'll just do like sell market with one. So I want to show you guys how, if you see here where it says ask and bid, it moves in 0.25. So they move in 0.25 spreads. Okay, so there's 100 just from since I entered that short. This is NQ. NQ changes each dollar that it moves, or each point that it moves, it gives you 20 bucks. Now, see how I have a stop loss here? I can move my stop loss, okay? I can drag it, move it. I can trail behind it, right? But what I can't afford is if we have some catalyst that comes through, and trust me, one contract I've seen, like let's say you walked away or something, and even if you had one contract, on some days that one contract could be 20, 30 grand. If you weren't at your computer, just to give you an example, but it's always good to have a stop loss. Okay, so let's close that and move on to the micro version. So let's just say we go short. It's $2 for every point that it moves. Okay, so notice how here I'm down 3 points now, 4.75. And that's, only $9 right now, or 11. It's gonna kind of it's Asian market, so it's a little bit slower. But you bet during the market open of New York Stock Exchange, it moves really fast. So we go to ES. Okay, so this one is $50 per point. However, it is not as volatile as NQ. To me, I used to trade ES and MES when I first started trading, but I stopped once I went over to NASDAQ. And, for me, like ES moves really slow, but typically a lot of times uh, it moves the same way as NQ. So MES is just the 1/10 of it, so same thing. So it's $1.25 instead of $12.50 for every tick. So for every point, it's $5 instead of 50. So that's about it as far as whoops. Let me go back to this. And then here it's going to give you the summary that we kind of went over, like what intraday trailing is, end of day, static, what it means, like if you're trading ES and NQ, it's more like SPX, NDX. So you guys can go to, it's called the profitfromtrend.com. Another thing, when I trade futures, I always check the economic calendars, whether it's for Forex Factory or Trading Economic Calendar, to see if there's any news. Some firms will not let you trade, like CPI or FOMC, okay? Some will, so you got to check to see what it is. And then, I'll also look at bar chart or Benzinga or Financial Juice, just something that, like, in Discord when we are trading, we trade live on voice, because it moves really fast. So We also need to have like we've got a news aggregator, delivering breaking market updates as the market's moving, and it helps with while you're trading. Another thing is um, down here, there's some strategy and setups, risk management, technical analysis, all of that kind of stuff. But I also watch, like, if I'm trading NASDAQ, I'm watching the Mag 7. So I've got NVIDIA, I've got Microsoft, all of the firms, or not firms, all of the Mag 7, just kind of watching to see what's happening at the same time. So it helps gauge the sentiment of which way, NASDAQ is going to go. So that's about it as far as, like I said, the biggest thing, guys, really is the, the position sizing when you're doing this, when you're trading. And majority will start with trading NQ and ES and not the micros. And another thing is when you go and you get a sim account, because usually a lot of these, firms, you'll get a sim account and you practice a little bit on it. Don't go in trying to, hit 10 NQs or 20 NQs just to, to see that feeling of like getting a big dollar amount, because that's a dopamine hit. And what's going to start happening, you're going to start getting that when you switch over to your evaluation or to your funded account. Always try to trade the same way with your evaluation, the way you would with your funded, because those habits transfer and it's hard to break those habits. So it's like, oh, I just made 20K in like 3 seconds, because you went in with 40 lots of NQ or whatever it is, right? But it again, it's that dopamine hit. You don't want to get your brain kind of your mindset messed up, because it will go over. So let's see. Questions. Someone says, are you Polish? No, I'm not Polish. I am Bosnian. Do you have to pay for activation fee? Activation fee for what? So some firms have activation fees, others don't. Some have hang on a second. Let me see if okay, I'm not sure. Is Ahmed not here? Okay, so somebody asked me a question if there's an activation fee and then they left. But are you able to press the price and move it back to place a stop, or would you have to set the stop prior to entering? You can set a stop once you are in a position. You just have to right click. I always set one before I enter. So that's kind of what so you can't click and drag the price. What do you mean? On top step, on stop X, you can enter. So you mean like this? The sell stop though. I need to do the other one actually. I'm not sure what your question is, to be quite honest. So like that, adding a stop afterwards and dragging it. You can. I mean, take profit, not sell. Sorry. Okay, let's see what the others might have questions. Thanks, Steve. Okay. All right. So do you guys have any questions on Twitter? I don't see any questions, but Discord. So I'm on like 5 different streams, guys. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, you can drag and drop your stops and targets on both NinjaTrader and Tradeovate. I don't usually use Tradeovate, even though I have Tradeovate accounts, but because I've got the NinjaTrader, I can actually link up all of my prop firms and all of my accounts into one and just use one chart with one click, and it's going to duplicate it into all of the accounts. Okay, did you guys all, no questions? Anybody? Did you all go and click on that little giveaway that I have? Not many entered. Here, let me, if you're on Twitter, it's on my, okay, so right there, I showed a little bit ago how to, once you click on that, if you go below on the bottom, it's going to have you log in like with an email. Enough has entered, do the drawing, please. So that's a good one. I like that. Now let's give some people, but 252 entries doesn't mean 252 people entered, guys. It just means that they utilize all these other, for extra entries. Some came late, yeah. Okay, no questions. I hope this is helpful. Hope you guys learned some new stuff. The kid, didn't you win something the other night? No, Top Step is not in giveaway promotion. I'm giving away 3 Apex accounts, any size. So anywhere between 25K and 300K, whatever you want. You can pick whatever you want. Oh, yeah, I know. Daniel the other night, you guys saw that. Do you pay activation fee on it? Well, once you pass, yes, there's an activation fee, but it depends like what their, promo is. So like like yesterday and like last week, they had a $6 activation fee. Right now it's like depends on the account size. It's $65 for an activation fee. If you pick 25K, 50K, or 100K. But let's say you pass it next week. After this deal is going to be gone by next week, by December 16th. So I'm sure it's going to be the PA might be like, I don't know. I don't know. I shouldn't even speculate because it's always different. Might be, I don't know what they've been having lately. $25, $50. But okay. All right. I'll go ahead and draw it. I think everybody's ready. Hey, thanks. Okay, where is the... These are always fun to do, the quick draws. No competitions. Ends. No. I'm not the best at this, you guys. Quick draws. New quick draw. Uh, let's see. Apex. 3. Okay. Just make sure it's this one. No, this is ended. Okay, so it's not that one. Is it this one? It is. All right. Okay, Naomi, Sebastian S, and Erastka. And I saw them earlier here. They left though. Well, Erastka left because it was like 3 a.m. over there. Oh. Okay, let's see if anybody on Twitter. Okay, which one are you now, Trades? Oh, all right. DM me, Naomi, I assume. All right. Let's repick Sebastian's winner. And then I don't know why this thing doesn't work. It's supposed to like repick and just keeps picking the same one. So next one we'll just do 2. Apex. I think it's this one. Let's see. Let's just double check. It's the one that ends in 45 minutes. Yep. Okay, well. Ahmed and Sandra S. Dr. Ahmed. Okay, what about Sandra? I always feel like this is like a roll call. Ahmed, didn't you win something the other day? But I can't. I mean, I have to give this to you because you won it fair and square. This is the thing. The funny thing is that many people, like if you guys saw, only 26 people entered. So the more of the entries you do, the more of a chance. So no Sandra. I don't see a Sandra. Okay, well, one more drawing. All right. Okay. Apex. Okay, is it this one? Nope, not this one because nobody entered in that one. No. Why do I keep picking the wrong one? Jesus. I need to figure out a way how to get these. Brings up the ones that I have already. Okay, this one. All right, one more. Again? Bro, Raska's sleeping. What a lucky guy, but not really. Okay, next. Let's just make sure it's the correct one. Oops. Stop it. Matt Rogers. Oops. No. Matt, are you here? Looks like no Matt. Okay. One more. Barry, are you Matt? I got 8 different screens going with chats right now. I've got like 5 or 6 streams going at the same time. Okay, let's look for Matt. Oh, not Alpha. What the fuck am I doing? I don't know why it brings up all the old giveaways that I've already done. Like, give me what I'm looking for. Okay, one more. Oh, you think Barry on X is Matt? Wait, did he say he is? You guys have to tell me who you are. Picture is the same. Oh, okay. All right. Well, sorry, guys. Okay. Well, Barry, you're gonna have to, when you message me, message me the email that was used for that Matt guy. Okay. Any questions? Anybody? Did you guys learn anything? I get it. You were Matt, but I'm saying when you message me, just use the same email so I can confirm. Just message me on X. All right. You're welcome. All right, guys. Until next time, right? Good night. See y'all tomorrow morning for trading. Good night. You're welcome. Thank you, Vince.